What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Nook. Now, I've been playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for about 2 weeks now. I have poured in hours of my time playing this game and having so much fun. I've beaten all the Divine Beasts, I've beaten Ganon, I'm nearly done with all the shrines. I think I have like 9 to go. And I have gotten about 100 Korok seeds. And I looked at my percent that I've completed the game. Looking at it right now, I have only completed 28.94% of the game. I don't even have a third of this game done, and I have already done the entire main quest, as well as almost every shrine. That's insane. The creators of this game did a phenomenal job. Overall, I love this game, and I love all the little things about the game. Not only can you ride a horse, but you can also ride moose, deer, even bears, as well as a spirit animal. At night, you can even ride an enemy's skeleton horse if you knock them off and mount it. Now, all of the special amounts you can't keep, but it's really fun to tame those and ride those around while attacking enemies. Something that really makes this game truly amazing is the mechanics that they've put into this game. If you have an elemental weapon, you can actually change Chuchu Jelly into a different color even after you've defeated it. So if you need maybe the white Chuchu Jelly and you're stuck with the blue, you can freeze it and it'll change, which that's such a small thing that they couldn't have added into that game, but they really wanted people to pay attention to all these little details. All of these little details add to this game and the experiences that you get while going through it, because I am experiencing and finding out new things in this game every day, every playthrough, and it's amazing. Probably the biggest plus about this game is that it is completely open. You can walk from one corner of the map all the way to the other corner of the map without any transition screens. Not only did they make that happen, they made that happen on something this big. Now, combat. The fighting mechanisms in this game are very unique. You can fight any enemy, or you can just run. What I really like about combat are the different techniques and the different uses for certain weapons against certain enemies. So when you're fighting an enemy that loves the water and uses the water as an advantage, if you can use fire against him, it'll kill him a lot faster than using a lot of other weapons, even if they deal more damage. Something that I always do is when I'm fighting on a cliff and I've got maybe 3 big skeleton enemies that pop up, yeah, I can just swing my sword at them and then hit their heads and they're dead. Or I can have fun with it, freeze all 3 of them with a blizzard rod, and push them off the mountain, which is a lot more fun than just killing them with any weapon. All the different types of arrows that you use in this game make the game a lot more fun. So when I can see an enemy camp and I see a metal box there, that's my chance to take out a shock arrow, shoot that, and a giant shock will go out and kill most of the enemies in that camp. Something really interesting is how the climate can affect weapons and food. So I had to find this out the hard way. I was at Death Mountain and I had to destroy, it was one of those flying guardians, and I was like, oh, I'll use a bomb arrow because that'll deal a good amount of damage. Right when I switched out my regular arrows for bomb arrows, boom! I hadn't even pulled back an arrow, just it sitting in that slot and me having the bow out caused the bomb arrow to explode because it was so hot up at Death Mountain. And when you have regular arrows out on Death Mountain, the tips automatically catch fire. It's not the same as a flame arrow, but you can shoot that and catch other things on fire. back to bomb arrows, if it's raining, they don't work. So this is actually a really cool way to farm for bomb arrows if you don't want to buy them. If you go to an enemy camp that you know has a lot of bomb arrows, and you specifically go when it starts raining, they can try to shoot them at you, but you'll just be able to pick up all those arrows, which that's a really cool little feature that Nintendo added into that game. Now, for the first time in a Legend of Zelda game, you can customize your character like crazy. There are so many different clothing options that you get when in this game. Yes, a big part of the reason that you have all these different clothing options is to protect yourself against certain climates or enemies. So when you're in Death Mountain, you're going to want Flamebreaker armor, which causes you not to catch fire. And then when you're in the Gerudo Highlands, where it is snowy and cold, you want the Snow Quill armor, which keeps you warm. However, Nintendo knew that people were going to love customizing their clothes and finding outfits that they really like, so they gave you the possibility of dyeing your outfits. This was a really smart feature for Nintendo to add, because now people can make their character their own. Unlike all the other Zelda games where you are Link and you always look the same, in your game you look how you want to look. Now, yes, there are positive after positive after positive things that I could say about this game. However, there are a couple negatives. One negative that I'm sure a lot of people have been experiencing is that when you're in a very intense moment, the frame rate can get a little buggy, and it can seem like it starts skipping frames, and the game is kind of jumping around a lot, and it only goes away once the scene has ended and everything's kind of calmed down. Now, that's a problem for most gamers who, when they're playing their game, they want a smooth gameplay. Whether it be 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, if it's smooth, that's good. But this frame rate issue has kind of been a widespread issue, and I'm hoping that through an update, Nintendo can fix this so that nobody has to experience this anymore. Another negative in this game that's actually kind of big relate to the 4 main dungeons in Breath of the Wild. Now, there are 120 shrines, which are meant to be mini dungeons, so you have to do these small little puzzles, which I think were great. I love the shrines and I love that idea. However, the dungeons are supposed to be full-on dungeons. For those who have played Ocarina of Time, you know what I'm talking about. They're time-consuming, they're long, and you have to figure out what you need to do next. The dungeons in Breath of the Wild, while yes, they are harder and they take a little more time than the shrines, really only took me about 10-15 minutes max to finish before that battle that I have to have. And the battles aren't that difficult either. There was one dungeon that was a little harder than a lot of the other ones, but overall, the dungeons are a lot easier to finish than in some of the old Zelda games, specifically Ocarina of Time. I do wish that the bosses in the dungeons were a lot harder, as well as Ganon. In that final fight, I don't want to give anything away for those who have been waiting and maybe want to complete other side missions first, but personally, I think that Ganon was not too difficult to defeat, and I really do wish that it was a lot harder, because I feel like they could have made him have maybe some more moves, and his attacks were a little stronger, but I don't know, fighting Ganon really only took me 20 minutes. Another negative that I understand why they have in the game, but it still kind of sucks, especially at the beginning, is weapon durability. Now, one big aspect of the game that is a big positive is that you can find weapons almost anywhere. You can cut down a tree and pick up a tree branch and use that as a weapon. And I love that. The problem is, weapons break so quickly. The only weapon that doesn't technically break is the Master Sword, because you have to have the Master Sword in the game, but it does have to take 10 minutes to recharge, which I'm not complaining about that, but the weapons that you get in the game, and maybe some really special weapons, can break pretty easily just after a few uses, and I feel like it kind of sucks for people who really were looking forward to getting this kind of weapon, and now it's gone forever. You're gonna have to somehow find it again, or reload this space that you're in so that you can get that weapon once more. I just want to reiterate that I can completely understand why Nintendo makes it so that weapons get destroyed after a certain amount of uses, and how strong the weapon is and what the durability is all relates into how long it takes for the weapons to be depleted. And I think the weapon system is a big positive in this game, and it's what makes the game so great. It just really does suck when one of your favorite weapons gets destroyed because you've been using it. Lastly, something that Nintendo has never added into any Zelda game, and can be seen as a positive or a negative, is the fact that they have added DLC for Breath of the Wild. Now, if you did get the expansion pass and you've entered the code into the game, 3 expansion pass chests will be put around the Great Plateau, and they should be pretty easy to find if you've entered the expansion pass at the beginning of the game before you've started. Besides the 3 chests, there will be 2 DLC coming out in summer and during the holiday. Now, the first DLC is going to introduce a lot of new things, including a Cave of Trials challenge, hard mode, and an additional map feature. If any of you guys have played The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, the Cave of Trials challenge is supposed to be very similar to the Cave of Ordeals from Twilight Princess, which means players are going to face different levels with progressively harder enemies to beat. We're not sure about the new hard mode, but chances are it's going to be very similar to the Ocarina of Time Master Quest, where everything deals double damage and so on. The second DLC is going to be a lot bigger than the first one, however, because it's going to include a new story, a new dungeon, as well as a lot of other challenges. Nintendo has revealed a few things about the new Winter DLC, but hasn't talked about any of the new challenges that are going to be coming with it. And like I said, this can be seen as a positive or a negative, because for those who spent the extra $20 to get the expansion pass, they can look forward to a brand new story that's going to be added, and a new dungeon, and a lot of new challenges. But the people who didn't get it, for good reasons, can say that Nintendo shouldn't have held back content for people, and that because they've never done that before, they shouldn't have done it with their next big Zelda game. Personally, I feel that Nintendo shouldn't have made people pay for this DLC, and that they should have just surprised everybody and released it in the summer and winter. I feel that they're already making a lot of money on the game, the console, as well as all the amiibo that you can use in this game, and they didn't really need to add a $20 DLC. Overall, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a phenomenal game, and if you're getting the Nintendo Switch, you have to get Breath of the Wild on it. It's just one of those games that everybody should be playing if they have the Nintendo Switch. Well, that's all the time I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment in the section below. Please feel free to comment me with any questions that you guys have for me, or suggestions on video ideas that you would like me to do. Well, this is Ryan, signing off.